Hey everyone, Jamie Pate here. Welcome to this video today. Thank you so much for being here. On this channel, you may have noticed, is a myriad of ideas and content, everything from memory planner to stamping to storyline chapters, storytelling, to even include mini albums. Mini albums, love them. And have I got a show for you today? Let's get started. Okay, sitting here on my work mat is a mini album that I'm going to share with you today, start to finish, how to make this. And here's the inspiration. 6x8 paper pad is the inspiration. And the reason that this is inspired, this little video today, is because there are actually 5 brand new 6x8 paper pads that have found their way into my studio. So I kind of challenged myself to take these and to make something with them. So I'm going to share it with you today. So first we're going to start off by me showing you each of these mini albums and what is so unique about each one of them. So we're starting off here with our cover. And as you can see here, I have Berry Sweet here sitting on the table because that's where this album came from, inspired by Berry Sweet pattern paper. And so with all what I'm showing you, for the most part, fingers crossed, oh, there's fingers crossed, this is consistent with all the albums that I've made. The cover is a 6x8 piece of paper, so it's one sheet of paper. I've trimmed it down a little bit, but I didn't trim it until I was all done, so that makes it super easy. And then when you open the inside, I've covered the inside with cardstock. I'll talk about that, the why of the cardstock, and it's why it's also super optional as well. Then we have a pattern paper, and what I'm calling is kind of a belly band pocket. Just because this looks like a belly band, but it's actually a pocket. And I just have a little flip piece in here to show you that it fits in there, and it's really fun with another pattern from the Berry Sweet. And then another piece of white cardstock, and on this other page is a little flip page, and I'm going to show you another alternative to this in the next book. And then a smaller belly band pocket, if you will, and this time a tiny envelope. And I'm going to be talking about lots of options with this, so it doesn't have to be anything that you see here. It can be anything you can think of that you actually want to put in an album if you make this as well. Pattern paper still here, continue on the top, on this other side of this page, and then finish the back inside with a piece of white cardstock. So that is the Berry Sweet album. Then we have a Sunny Lane album, and ta-da, it doesn't look too different from this one at all. Actually, this was the first one I made. This really inspired all the other ones. And I hope you can see how very doable this is, and that you'll make lots and lots of, if you got 6x8 paper sitting in your stash, let's use it, right? Let's use up our things and let's do something with them. Yes, I am struggling here with this little ribbon. So got a embellished cluster on the front, open it up, white cardstock, pattern paper, little pocket. I don't have anything inserted into this one. Cardstock page. This time I started this with a tag, and after I did the tag I realized I actually wanted the page cover a little bit more, and that's what you saw in here where I did a fuller flip. And then another envelope here inside our little small belly band, and then the back covered inside. So that was Sunny Lane. Also with the Sunny Lane I had a little bit of sunshine. Solid. These are all solids. If you're looking for a great selection of solids, this is a great 6x8 solid option. Okay, now this one is really different for me. Ta-da! This one came from the magical 6x8 paper. So again, same idea. Have an embellished cluster here on the front. I followed a formula. I'll be talking about that in the make. And there's a couple of simple embellishments that have already been added in here. But again, we have our 6x8 solid piece of paper, just really fun patterns in here. The black and white stripe, the polka dot, made a little, just folded one of my extra pieces of paper from making this and folded in there. Then I have this larger flip here, right? A little envelope inside here. Are you seeing a theme here? Yeah, I didn't recreate anything with this. I just did the same thing over and over again. And I got one more. Oh, wait till you see this one. Wait till you see this one, because it came with this cozy paper. I know for some of us, if you live in the Northern Hem, it has just now become summer. So why are we looking at cozy paper? I don't know, because it's pretty. And oh, I have this one tied. So let me pay attention here while I do this, untie my ribbon here. And so again, embellished cluster, just like the rest of these. Followed a formula, didn't change anything except for the colors and the elements. Open this up and we have this great plaid, a little belly band pocket here. We have our little flip there. We have a pocket with another belly band pocket. And then we have the back of our mini album. So you ready to make this? All right, let's go. So today I believe I want to use we're going to make the berry sweet one again. So that is this paper here. Nope, that is not that paper. Let's read here, Jamie. And I'm going to make it just like we saw here, because I want you to see exactly. I want you to be able to just feel like, oh, I can do that. I can whip that out and like whip out a bunch of them. So to start, we're going to make our cover. So you can see I made a little envelope and I threw in a lot of little extra pieces in there. That way I just have them all together with my book. So this cover, front cover, is this pink stripe. And you're going to want I believe 4 to 5 different patterns. But if you have double-sided paper, well then of course you are going to be able to make that not as many papers, because you have the option of the other side of the paper. So for our cover, this is my 6x8 piece of paper. I'm going to score this at 3 7/8. I'm coming from this side, in case you're wondering. 3 7/8, and then again at the 4. Yes, very, very tiny fold. I don't need a big, not a fold, it's you could call it a binding. It's not really going to be our binding. We're not using this for our binding, actually, as you will find out. This, I wanted to have this 1/8 inch middle, center, if you will, so that we could have a little bit of wiggle room in the middle of our book, especially if we're going to be adding more embellishments to it or more photos to it. It's just there to give us some room. And actually, this shorter side is our front cover. You can see if you hold it and you have your little squared off center. I want to be able to see some of the patterns past here. And I'll show you what I kind of did with that as we move along as well. Then as an option, I covered this inside here. Now, why did I cover the inside? There's a couple of reasons for me why I covered it. One would be because of adding some stability to the covers, the front and the back. So that is one reason for adding a layer of cardstock in here. Now obviously this cardstock can be whatever color you choose. It could be another pattern from the paper. It could be watercolor paper. I mean, really, it can be anything you want. And I'm only shimmying this up to the first fold here in the center of this book. So when you open it, you still have the very middle. I never put, just as a point of reference, I never put anything inside that middle at all. I'm grabbing my utility knife, my craft knife, and my ruler. I'm just going to quickly trim this off. Just going to kind of go over it a couple times. Another reason for the cardstock inside the cover is, and for me, the white, is to tone down the pattern. So, you know, on some of these different pattern papers, on different collections, I might really like two patterns sitting next to each other and play nicely together. In this situation, I didn't want that. And that kind of segues into the other reason I wanted to use a white cardstock. To me, it's a buffer. It not only does it tone down the pattern, but in that toning down, it kind of gives your eyes some place to kind of rest when you do have a lot of pattern. So that's what it is for me. Okay, our second page now. What do you guess our second page is? Our second page is, no, I'm sorry. Let me correct that. Our first page now, because we only have the covers so far, is going to be made from this pattern here. That is ever so lovely. And I really also like this gingham on the other side. So I don't need to cover this up at all, and I won't be covering this up. So I'm actually going to cut this to 5.5. I already have my board out here, my trim board and scoreboard. While it is on the scoreboard, I'm going to score this here at 1/4 inch. So after I do the 1/4 inch, I am going to then score it at 4 inches. So 1/4 inch and 4 inch. So then, and save your scraps. You might want to use them again inside your book somewhere. Okay, for this then, I'm going to go ahead and just fold over each of these scores. I want to make sure my creases are intentional. So I'm going to use my score tool, whatever this is called, and give those a nice crease. Okay, so when we are putting this in the book, this is actually going to be how our page is going to look at us. Now, you have lots of options. You can have this be the page that looks at you. That'd be beautiful. I just chose this way. There's really no rhyme or reason. My fold here is actually going to be attaching to the back inside cover. And I'm going to use the art glue here. This happens to be ScrapbookCom's brand new Artiste, and I need to make sure it's going to squeeze out for me. And so I want to just apply here a thin line of that glue. I got to kind of fold it back under carefully, and I'm going to snuggle it up. It might be hard for you to see on the screen, but I can see my score line here, and I want to snuggle this up really close to that score line, but still be able to fold my book. So this just takes a moment. I'm going to come back in here with my score tool and give that a good burnish. Okay. So then when we flip this over, it wouldn't hurt to just kind of do it again here as well. And then I'm going to come in here with my glue as well. I'm only going to make the belly band pocket by adding glue to the top and to the bottom only. It's the only place I need glue. And so here we go. Same thing. I'm just going to kind of burnish that up. I like using that really ultra fine tip on the craft glue, because then I'm not getting a whole glob of glue. I mean, sometimes it will kind of want to seep through on the ends, and I'll just clean that up. But, you know, if you don't go crazy, it won't. And that's going to dry pretty quick. So that's our first page. Ta-da! Here we go. Here we go. So on to the second page. And for that, we are going to use, you use whatever you would like. I'm going to use the white cardstock again. I need a piece that is 3 3/3 wide by 6 inches tall. I'm going to go ahead and take that off of this edge here. 3 3/4, and then 6 inches tall, because that's how tall my book is, right? So we're going to go 6 inches here. I'm going to flip this back onto my scoreboard, and I'm going to come on either edge. It doesn't matter because it's white, but I need to score. I wrote in my notes to score at 3.5. You could score at 1/4, but you know, we're going to follow, because this is what I do. I follow the rules. I'm going to score here at 3.5, and that, maybe you can already see a little bit of a pattern going on here. But that's going to be the little piece that gets glued and attached to the book. And to where? To the back inside cover. So here we go. And what I like to do, I'm going to cheat here. Watch me cheat. I'm going to grab my previous book. I want to make sure I am following what I did before. So when you have this open here in the middle, right here. What I'm doing is I'm overlapping this previous 1/4 inch scored piece. So it is going to be on there just like that. So let's grab the glue and add that right in the middle. And then take your time. Basically what you're doing is shimmying this to now line up with this side of the fold that is on the previous piece of paper. And give it a moment, make sure you have it in place. Don't need to be in a hurry. Let's just enjoy the making, guys, and don't be in a hurry. Now, my measurement is a little off here. It might be on this paper here. I can always go back and trim that later when I'm all done. Depends how much I notice it, actually, if that makes sense to you. All right, so that is page number 2, and I'm actually going to come in here on the other side, push it up a little bit. I'm going to grab my score tool and just make sure I like my crease. And I'm going to just kind of check everything out again, making sure, yep, everything is looking good. Now, what's going to kind of happen here is like this little top fold is basically all you're going to see on the top. And what you're going to notice too, and I'll come back in here in a moment, but on all of these, actually my very first one, this is the best example. My first one, I don't even know how I did it, but I got my second page to show really nicely without having had trimmed this. I could not for the life of me figure out how I did that. So what we're going to have to do later on, if you want to be able to see this pattern peeking through, which I really suggest, I think it's very pretty to be able to see the contrast in those patterns, you're going to have to trim this page up a little bit. But we'll get to that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Sometimes I do that. Third page. The third page is going to also be a piece of pattern paper. So let's reach back in here into our Berry Sweet. And I know for this one, it was this lovely black and white, almost a buffalo check. I'm not sure if that's actually a buffalo check, but then it has a little black pin dot pattern behind it. Okay, so let's get our board, our trim board back on the table here. And it doesn't matter which side we are going to be making our folds on. It still flips, it still works. I think, as I say that, she's hoping she's right. Okay, so for this page, we are going to trim it also to 5.5. Okay, 5.5, set that aside. You might want to use it later inside your book. We're going to need a 1/4 inch. Okay, so we're always using that 1/4 inch as we reattach these pages, or as we attach these pages to our book. And then for this one, we want 3 3/4. So this is similar to page 1. Our measurements are slightly different, however, and the way it's placed inside our book is going to be slightly different as well. So what are we doing? We're going to come in here with all of our folds, and this is actually how I want to be able to see it as a page. I'm going to flip this back. Okay, so that's how I'm going to see it as a page. So when I put this in here, at this point, this is going to be attached still to the back of the book, the back inside cover, but this fold is matching up to the previous page's fold. It's not being layered on top this time, so that's a little different. So you might want to go back and look at that again, how I did that, and I'll say it again right now. This previous page, here's the fold right here, and then the fold on this page is going to sit right next to it. These two pages are not layering one on the other, but I do want to make sure, yep, I still have a good folding of the pages there. So we're going to make that work. All right, and then let's add our little bit of glue here for our little belly band pocket. Yeah, I just made that up. I don't even think that's a real thing, but we're going to pretend because it's our mini album. And again, any of these pages, any of these patterns, if you want it all to be cardstock, if you want to just have the most beautiful sunshiny book and make it, or make it like with these first 3 or 4 colors. Sky's the limit, my friends. Okay, so what we're doing now for our final piece that we're adhering to our book is, I can't do it that way, I'll do it this way. My fold is right here. I have this little 1/4 inch fold. You could do a couple things here. You could just bring you could leave it. Okay. Obviously you could leave it and say, I like my paper just like it is. Leave it then. Only thing is with these patterns that in this particular pattern, my strawberries are pointing this way, right? Okay. You could come in here and you could shimmy this paper up against the paper itself so you still have a fold, or you could cover the fold, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to completely cover the fold so that my paper actually now is going to be lined up with and against the fold I made in this paper. Okay, I'm gonna do it from here. So here's my fold. It's kind of like a nice natural placement of this paper, making sure my folds still fold, right? I don't want it to interfere with my folds. I'm just gonna come in here again, if I can find my ruler. This is all contingent on finding the ruler, which is not being found right now. Something tells me I might have dropped it. Nope. No. Okay, if you can see my ruler, are you laughing at me right now? Oh, where has my... Does this not happen to everybody? Oh my gosh, here's my ruler. It's on the back of my trimmer. And I'm pulling all manner of things off of here. Yes, friends, this is real life in my studio. I am not even kidding. I can't, so many times I will lose something, and it's because it has attached itself to something else. I lost a stamp the other day because it had, you know, stamps, acrylic stamps. No, I take that back. It wasn't a stamp. It was a die. It was one of the Sweet Scoops dies, and it had a little bit of gummy on it from the packaging, and it stuck to a notebook I had on my workspace. I could not find that for days. Please tell me I am not alone. Okay, so we have all of our pages in our book now. Okay, so cover, right? 6x8 cover. Cardstock insert. If you want to come in and line this little part here, you can do that. I did that on my first book here. Okay, I just came in with a little slim piece of paper and just gave it a little bit more of a cohesive look. And I'll probably go back and do that. So we have here this, this little pocket. And I'm just going to fold this over. All manner of things you can do with this little fold over. Fits in there real cute. We have this page. And then for this page, okay, what we're going to do now is make a decision. And then we're going to wrap this up. This is as complicated as this is, you guys. Don't you love it? I am going to find, let's see. I'm trying to decide on a piece of paper. I think I'm actually going to use this one. So what we can do here is I'm going to trim my paper down. I'm going to trim off I'm going to trim off 3 inches. Same difference. Trim off 5 inches, trim off 3 inches. Okay, I'm going to trim off 3 inches. That's going to leave me with a 5x6. I'm just setting that aside for a moment. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to come at the 3/8 and make a fold. Folding that over, creasing that so that it will stay closed. Adding some art glue, craft glue, artiste glue. You know, at 7,000 feet, my glue dries quick. So there we go. There we go. Perfect. Gonna grab my book and I'm going to set this inside as my little flap. The next thing I'm going to do now is make a pocket. I'm sorry, an envelope for this. And I can use the other portion of that little flip piece. I just need to make a 5x5 piece of paper. So that's a great way to utilize another piece of paper two ways. So it's not just, I'm just going to cut off this piece and that'll be it. So I'm going to make my envelope by, if you've never used a scoreboard before, the envelope punch board is actually what this is. All the measurements are here. You have paper size. My paper size is 5 by 5. The score is going to be at 2 3/8. So you punch and score right along the score line over here. You turn it and then you line up this little marker here. You punch and you score. And you just keep doing the same thing until you're all done. And that is the magic of this envelope punch board. I've had this thing for years and years. Oops, and then I always do that. I forget to round my corners. So you can come up here and you can round off the corners of each of these little points. Pretty snazzy, huh? Now, as we wrap this up, thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you found some value. I hope you found that you can just bang out some really cute, use your stash, use a brand new 6x8. Actually, I want this to be on this side. Use your brand new 6x8 paper pad that you got. Maybe some old ones that you're like, you know, I love these, but I need to put them to use. Anyone out there like that? If you liked anything you saw here today, I have everything listed in the description. Please say hi. Please let me know if you found some value in this, if you're going to make these. And watch what we're going to do here. Pop this right in here. And we got ourselves a little holder for something else. I am not going to share the embellished clustered front that all of these hold, because I have a video that is called Embellished Clusters 101, and I invite you to watch that. I will also link that in the description. I invite you to watch that, and now you have this little middle too if you need it here. Oh, that'd be kind of, even this little stripe here would just kind of be fun someplace else. That's kind of how I think about these things. That'd be fun. Anyway, but you can see, you might want to trim off even a little bit more of that, but you can see your patterns here inside, and I just love that. Okay, that's it. That's how you make these books. So I hope you have fun making them yourself, and as always, I will see you in the next video.